Hi, my name is Ahmed, Youssef, and I have cited on debate number 2, and that is economic and other forms of interdependence can create world peace. And that is simply because a country is run on currency, and it depends on currency for a number of operations and a multitude of factors that make a country form in the first place. Interdependence is needed for trade, creating allies, and government affairs in general. Forms of interdependence are necessary for economic and political platforms within a country. Economic interdependence is beneficial to trade within countries for a greater goal of global networking. And interdependence is needed for peace amongst countries, at least in terms of trade. For example, countries that lack economic interdependence, such as North Korea, doesn't allow trade, which results in conflict with other countries, economically and politically. And economically speaking, for example, the United States has placed a multitude of sanctions on North Korea with an alliance with the United Nations, and that has resulted in a backlash in the North Korean domestic economy. So the main benefit of global interdependence is that countries can participate in international trade and acquire services and goods they lack. For example, multiple countries rely on gas and oil as they cannot produce their own, so they rely on a global network of trading to fill that void in. This is seen with the United States and Saudi Arabia, for example. So they have really good relations simply because Saudi Arabia is sitting on an oil bank and the United States doesn't want to exhaust their domestic supply. And an important benefit of global interdependence, especially in an economic sense, is that it reduces the threat of war between countries. After the terrible destruction of the two world wars, the European coal and steel community was established in 1952 to reduce the chances of another conflict between Germany and France. Today, this organization is much larger and has grown a lot, and it is known as the European Union, which plays a significant role in trade and globalization as a whole. And global interdependence essentially refers to the worldwide mutual dependence between countries. In other words, mutual dependence at a worldwide level. One nation depends on another for something at the end of the day. That country also depends on another for either the same thing or something else. As more countries depend on other nations for things, especially key things like energy and food, global interdependence evolves. It's largely the result of international trade, for example, the importing and exporting of products and services. In fact, countries today cannot survive for long without each other's imports and exports due to the gradual lack of resources. In addition, oil and natural gas have created global interdependence between major producing nations and those that do not have enough. Global interdependence means mutual dependence at an international level. Countries usually depend on each other for certain commodities, and the import and export of various goods and services greatly contribute to global interdependence. So it clearly plays a great role in overall peace, economic tranquility, and good, solid relations overall. The United Nations clearly plays a massive role in this, as well as the European Union. They're all good examples of economic interdependence. They all are cited peacefully, even though they have their differences. And at the end of the day, no country can be totally self-sufficient in today's global economy. A need exists for international trade. And nations and their citizens would not voluntarily trade with other countries unless there were benefits from this exchange. And put simply, international trade increases material standards of living across the world, which at the end of the day makes everyone richer.